Welcome back to the deep dive. So if you're the learner, someone who's really looking for that aha moment, the one that connects all these different ideas without having to read a dozen white papers, then you are in exactly the right place.
Yeah, our whole mission here is to take your source material, really distill it, and give you some serious leverage.
And today we're doing a deep dive into a pretty revolutionary framework for how you interact with generative AI.
We really are. We're trying to move beyond that typical use case of just, prompt and get an answer. We're focusing on how you can use tools like ChatGPT as a genuine, structured thought partner.
A thought partner to do what, exactly?
To generate real-world systems, businesses, even scalable digital products.
Okay, let's unpack this a little. The source material, it centers on this one individual who noticed a really a crucial pattern.
Mm-hmm.
Their most valuable insights weren't coming from these scheduled, rigid brainstorming sessions. They were coming from, honest, casual reflection.
The kind of messy thoughts you have when you're driving, right? Or just making dinner.
Yeah.
You see these patterns in the world and you just feel, they have to be connected somehow.
Exactly. And so they needed a path to turn that raw, messy human observation into something structured, something marketable.
And that path is the H.E.A.R.T method. Now, the source makes a really bold claim here.
Oh.
They say that by adopting this process, you gain massive leverage, you get incredible results, and you end up operating on a totally different strategic level than 99% of other AI users.
Hold on, that 99% number, that's a huge claim. Is that based on, actual empirical data about prompt quality, or is the author just using that to make a point?
It's definitely the latter. It's more of a philosophical stance.
Okay.
I mean, most users, they treat AI like a search engine, right? Or maybe an assistant for just a single task. The H.E.A.R.T method forces you to treat the AI more like a high-level consultant.
A consultant that you're briefing on your raw, half-formed intellectual property?
Precisely. It's a framework for creation, not just consumption.
That makes a lot of sense. So it's a mindset shift that has to happen before you even type a single character.
Yeah.
Let's define this, starting with H-human first, or what they call emotional permission.
Right, and this is the foundation.
Yeah.
It's so critical, and it's what most technical frameworks just completely miss. It happens outside of the app.
So what is it?
It's basically giving yourself a permission slip to start messy, to be emotional, to be honest. You don't need a clear business plan. You just need to acknowledge those patterns you're seeing in the real world that are, nagging at you.
The points of friction, the inefficiencies, maybe cultural gaps.
All of it. The only real requirement for this H step is deciding, okay, I'm going to do something with this observation.
I really appreciate that focus on emotional permission. It feels like the perfect antidote to that blank page syndrome we all get when trying to generate ideas.
It really is.
It confirms that the starting point is supposed to be messy. It's not supposed to be clear. So once you're over that hurdle, we get to externalize your thoughts. The brain dump.
Exactly. Cognitive unloading. You have to get all those swirling, half-formed ideas out of your head and onto the screen. Now, the source gives a really important tactical tip here.
Right.
If you're having one of those big moments, a major breakthrough that needs a few minutes of just focused, uninterrupted thought, don't just type it in the chat box.
Oh, why not? That seems like the fastest way.
Because if the thought is really long and complex, you want to capture it exactly as it happened. The suggestion is to use, say, a phone audio recorder or a separate document, capture the whole raw thought, and then upload the transcript into ChatGPT.
I see. So the in-app chat is more for the quick, iterative questions.
Right. And the external recording is for preserving those huge data dumps. You don't want those vital, unstructured thoughts to get lost because you're trying to edit them on the fly.
That's really smart. It gives the AI a complete, sort of untainted data set of your initial thought process.
Right.
Which brings us to A, and this sounds like the big pivot point. Ask for clarity, not answers.
This is where you fundamentally change the relationship with the AI. You are not asking it for a solution. You are handing it your messy, transcribed thoughts and asking it to just make sense of the pattern you intuitively felt.
So the prompts aren't directive. They're not, write me a business plan for X.
No, not at all. They're exploratory. They might sound something like, I feel like all these different things I just talked about are connected, but I don't know how. Or maybe I think I can use this friction point to solve a problem or start a business. What are the common themes here?
So you're using the AI to organize and basically name the architecture of your own idea.
That's it. Exactly.
And now we hit our refine through iteration. This sounds like where the real work happens.
Absolutely. This is where the magic, begins to happen. The refinement phase is just It's relentless,
Yeah.
continuous questioning based on the structure the AI gives you.
So if
But
the AI points out a theme, you just push on it.
you push hard. The source emphasizes asking questions like, am I onto something significant here? Or is this a known thing? Or has this specific problem been studied in other industries? And this is the critical one. Can't we create a simple framework out of this that makes it easy to communicate?
So you keep iterating until that initial messy feeling is condensed into something structured and communicable.
You've got it. You're not just clarifying the idea for yourself, you're building the foundation to sell it or explain it to someone else later.
Which brings us finally to T-Translate for real life, the output.
This is the last step. It's where you convert that substantial, refined insight, that final framework, into a tangible outcome. You're asking, what is the physical or digital manifestation of this structure?
And that could be anything. It could be code for an app, a course outline, an ebook.
A public-facing framework? Sure. Or even, as the source points out, just a really meaningful, structured conversation that finally addresses a core friction point in your personal life.
The power here really seems to be in seeing how raw, common frustration gets turned into what the source calls appreciating digital real estate. Let's look at the first case studies, the ones about human and cultural friction.
Okay. The first example is centered on a very specific and very annoying administrative headache: managing bilingual birthday invitations.
I can already feel that pain point.
Right. So the initial H, the human first observation, was just the chaotic manual work it took to manage RSVPs, dietary needs, gift tracking, all when you're dealing with both Spanish and English speakers in your family.
That's a classic friction point. You're juggling two languages, different cultural expectations, and you're tracking it all on, what, a spreadsheet or sticky notes?
Exactly. So the refinement phase defined the key need. The system had to be simple for the sender, but it had to offer immediate choice and clarity for the person receiving it. And the T, the translation for real life, became invitaro.com.
Ah, so a product.
A product. The person who gets the invite can choose their language the second they click the link, and the sender sees all the data RSVPs, what they're bringing, everything in one central place, no matter what language it was entered in. It systematizes a messy family problem.
What's fascinating is how the next case study, lengalink.com, takes that core idea of a cultural friction and just raises the stakes. It goes from a logistical problem to a deep communication problem.
It really does. The initial observation there was that standard translation apps, they're often linguistically accurate, but they fail spectacularly on cultural context.
So you're talking to a local artisan or a fisherman, and the literal translation just misses the entire point. The nuance is gone.
The nuance, the history, the intent, it's all lost. I think you remember the example from the source material about the parade.
Oh yeah, you think you're invited to a parade, but it's actually just one tiny part of a 2-week-long National Independence Day celebration. So you miss all the important stuff because the translation had zero context.
That is the key friction. So the refinement phase, the R, focus heavily on one question. What context is vital to prevent misunderstanding? And the answer wasn't just better words, it was better monitoring.
And the translation, the T, became lengalink.com.
Right, an app that doesn't just translate. The AI in it actively monitors the conversation to find those cross-cultural friction points and gives you real-time insights like, hey, the grand finale is actually 2 weeks from now. It closes that cultural knowledge gap.
That immediately makes it a strategic tool, not just a utility. Let's shift gears a bit. How does this same H.E.A.R.T method build more complex commercial systems? Starting with aiopportunities.com.
This one identified a massive friction in the AI consulting world. The H was seeing that most high-end AI consultants, they only focus on high-paying clients. Think dentists, law firms.
Which leaves all the mom-and-pop small businesses completely out in the cold.
Totally underserved. They don't have the budget, and they don't speak the technical lingo.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you have all these new, talented AI service providers who don't have experience and don't have a marketplace to find those smaller clients.
So it's a dual market failure. Underserved customers on one side, underutilized talent on the other. The H.E.A.R.T framework had to bridge that gap.
And the bridge became aiopportunities.com. The key to the T-step, the translation, was making the interface completely human first. So the small business owner comes to the site and they just describe their pain point, not in AI lingo, but just talking about their business problem.
How did they do that? A form, a chatbot?
A form, a chatbot, or even a voice AI interface.
Okay, let's pause on that. How does talking to a voice AI about your problems actually educate you? Is the platform teaching them?
Exactly. The platform translates the owner's messy, non-technical language like, "My scheduling is disaster," into a structured, jargon-appropriate job posting. It defines a clear AI scope of work.
Ah, so by seeing their own complaint turned into a technical request, they learn what's actually possible.
They learn what's possible, and they realize it's not magic. It's just structured data handling. Then the platform matches that job with AI talent, balancing their budget against the provider's experience. The process itself is the education.
That is real leverage. You're solving the need and closing the knowledge gap at the same time. Now, this next one is incredibly clever, turning career anxiety into a marketable gift. Case study 4, smartaigifts.com.
The initial observation for this one, the H, was a mix of cultural and economic anxiety. People are tired of buying, disposable junk for the holidays.
Right. And at the same time, everyone is worried about AI taking their job.
That's the insight. People want strategy and security more than they want another gadget. The refinement process determined that whatever the solution was, it had to be affordable enough to be a gift, but impactful enough to be serious, which led to the $20 price point.
And the genius of the T-step was the format. For $20, smartaigifts.com gives you a personalized, purchasable gift assessment.
It tells you your job's vulnerability to AI, it identifies your transferable skills, and most importantly, it suggests specific custom paths for your career advancement. It focuses on how to become the person who operates the AI, not the person replaced by it.
And it doesn't just give you a static PDF, which is key. It provides ready-to-use, copy-paste ChatGPT prompts.
That's right. It delivers the strategy and the tool for your own deeper research. The report gives you the high-level answer, but the prompts empower you to keep iterating on your own career path using the AI yourself. It turns anxiety into a blueprint for action.
We even see this applied to, basic local service businesses, which often have no digital systems at all. Let's look at carpetviz.com.
The problem observed in the H-step there is common to almost all local services. They're inefficient, they don't have marketing systems, no lead magnets, and their drivers are just zigzagging across town, chasing bad leads.
So just relying on word of mouth instead of a real structure.
So the translation step had to create customer value first to solve that lead problem. Carpetviz.com is a licensable tool that starts with a fun, gamified quiz.
What's the quiz for?
It helps customers choose the right carpet for their lifestyle. Do they have pets, kids, high-traffic areas? The T step defined the lead magnet. The customer gets a full report and a visualizer of what it will look like.
Which means the customer is opting in for a valuable resource, not just a sales pitch.
Precisely. That report is the lead magnet. They opt in to get something useful, like 10 ways to double the life of your carpet, and then they also get the ability to book a sample or a quote. The system builds a qualified email list and attracts leads who are already educated and engaged.
This brings us perfectly to the next level of abstraction. All these systems, they're built to be scalable, which leads to what the source calls the local to legendary framework.
This is a fundamental business model shift. It comes from applying H.E.A.R.T principles to the problem of competition. So instead of just trying to be the cheapest or fastest carpet installer, you use the digital assets you build to become the industry leader in your area.
Okay, so stage 1 is local dominance. You use your CarpetViz tool and local SEO to get a ton of qualified leads. What's stage 2?
The pivot is monetization. Once you dominate the local lead flow, you stop just selling the service yourself. You start selling your qualified leads to your local competitors.
You move up the value chain. You're not just an installer anymore, you're a lead generator.
It's a much higher margin business, and you're not just selling data, you're selling licensed use of the proprietary framework, the CarpetViz system itself, that consistently delivers those leads. You license the digital real estate asset.
Which takes us to launching a nationwide resource.
That's the legendary step. You use your local success to launch a national brand, like deckbuildersai.com or something similar. Then you build a media arm, a YouTube channel, a podcast, to sell the actual H.E.A.R.T frameworks and tools to other professionals all across the country.
You go from local service provider to a national industry operating system provider.
Exactly.
So this whole evolution, from a raw observation to a scalable business model, it's all summed up by this master umbrella concept the source calls digital real estate.
That is the overarching philosophy. Every single tool, system, and framework, Invitaro, Langolink, the local to legendary framework, they're all created through the H.E.A.R.T method, and they're all considered appreciating digital assets.
So just like physical real estate, where you have single-family homes and giant apartment complexes, these digital assets solve different kinds of pain points. They're not just websites. They are problem-solving properties.
And if you build a digital asset that solves a tangible, expensive, or complex human pain point, it will appreciate in value. The H.E.A.R.T method is just the development process for consistently building those assets, turning your unique insight into quantifiable, monetizable property.
So what does this all mean for you, the learner? The H.E.A.R.T method is really a repeatable blueprint. It transforms those messy, unstructured observations that you have every single day into structured, monetizable systems, into digital real estate. It's the highest form of leverage.
And the ultimate takeaway is found right back at the beginning, at H. The source material really proves that the biggest, most scalable ideas, they don't start with a perfect plan. They don't start with complex tech. They start with simple emotional permission.
It begins when you decide that the pattern you just noticed or the frustration you just felt is valuable enough to pursue.
So if you view your own career, your own expertise, as a piece of digital real estate, what kind of appreciating property would you design using the H.E.A.R.T framework?
What's that small, frustrating problem that you're going to decide to do something about next? That's the challenge we'll leave you with today.